So the sun sets on one series, but is now rising upon another. Hey guys, you're watching C1 and Only. My name is AJ. Welcome to a brand new series, Let's Build a Mansion. I don't know if that's going to be the entire title yet. I always think of a title after I've recorded it and then done the thumbnail, and that's usually when I think of the title. But for the moment, it's going to be Let's Build a Mansion. We've finished off the Nether Castle. Unfortunately, I was really enjoying that, but it's finished now. There's nothing more we can do about it. It's time to start a new project. This mansion is going to be huge. So before we start, I'm just going to cover a couple of quick points that people were wondering about. Did my HUD just appear? I felt like I just saw something appear on my screen. Might just be me having a little bit of a freak out. I haven't been up too long. People were saying, why don't you do, when you do this mansion for the next series, why don't you do it on the old Let's Build a City world? I thought that was a great idea, and I had the full intention of doing it because obviously the world's already built up. It would be a nice environment, etc, etc, etc. I literally just went onto the Let's Build a City world. There isn't a space big enough in an area that I like for this size building, mansion, whatever you want to call it, to be built. So we can't do it on that world. So instead, I've been playing around with the custom super flats. I've never used the custom super flats yet. So I thought, oh, why not? We should use a custom super flat. That way, if we want to, we can do a very nice, well, we are going to be doing a very nice swimming pool. We can do that without running into the trouble of hitting the bedrock. And we can also do a basement if we need to while on the super flat here. Obviously, I do want a super flat world over a normal terrain world because normal terrain world, it always gets in the way. You have to flatten out an area, especially for a big mansion. You don't want the ground going up by 2 or 3 or 5 blocks for half of the building. It just makes it really, really awkward, especially with trees in the way and lakes and ponds and lava stuff and getting the right biome. It's very, very hard to. So super flat world is our best and my favourite option. I love super flat worlds. Now, I've just got this glowstone in the middle here because this is the point where I spawn, just so I know that when I spawn into the world, I'm not going to build a house over the top of it. I'm not going to build it too far away. I can build a house just over there and it'll be fine. I might also let the day run a little bit. How do I do this? Set to day? Oh, there we go. Perfect. Ha ha ha. And is the time locked? Day-night cycle. Yeah, that's unticked. Wonderful. So it'll stay there. That's nice and bright now. I'm very, very pleased. This episode, obviously, first episode is going to be a little bit slower paced. We've got a lot to plan out before we really start building stuff. But I went back to good old pen and paper. You might be able to hear me rustling here. I went back to good old pen and paper, and I've sketched out a very, very basic blueprint and possible potential look to our house that I'm going to be working off. Whenever I do a building as large as this, I always try and do a little bit of a blueprint for myself, just so I know where I'm going with it. I know what I'm leading. I know what sort of size I need to do. I know how many window space I need to put in, and that kind of thing. So you're going to hear me rustling this paper about a little bit this episode, and hopefully we'll get at least a decent amount of our blueprint in. We also need to choose a colour for our building. Now, this building is originally based off, if you've ever seen it, the Bad Boys 2 mansion. It might be in Bad Boys 1, it's just better known as Bad Boys 2 mansion. I'm sort of basing it loosely off that. So I think we want to go with maybe, I think that's a little bit too dark. I do like the clays though. Maybe a grey. No, I think I'm going to go with a nice white stained clay for the building itself. So we're going to grab that. And what way is my map? I'd really like this to point north. I am. Wonderful. So let's go a little bit out of the way of the spawn because we're going to have a very nice driveway. Have to have a very nice driveway. And then this is where the building's going to start. Now let's do a doorway. If we're going to do a normal 2 wide doorway, it's going to be about that. Do I like the height of the doors themselves, though? Or are we going to go on the Springfield way of doing things and make the doors bigger than what Minecraft originally intended them to be? I think maybe for the front door we go a little bit bigger. Something like that. For the moment, I like that. Or do we go... How many windows have I got? No, I need an odd number, really. Alright, we'll try a 3x3 for the moment as our doorway. I might even go 3 by 4, and then I can put some glass on it and make it look more appealing to Minecraft, if we like, without having to do normal 1 wide 2 high doors. I don't like them. They work great in survival. They don't work as well in creative. Now, this part we're going to have maybe a couple of smaller windows, small but tall windows. The entirety of this build is going to be 2 stories high. Now, that might sound tall. It's really not going to be that tall. If you think of the Nether castle world that we just finished, that was technically 3/ maybe 4 stories, if you're being generous, tall. But each story was like, I don't know, what was it, like 15 to 18 blocks high? Does that sound about right? Like when you walked into the main lobby, the ceiling was right up there. With a house, you don't really want it way, way up in the sky. If anything, that is pretty tall. That's a really nice height for a mansion, in fact, isn't it? Yeah, I really, really like that. That's a good thing. That's a very, very good thing. So, I'm thinking potentially making those windows end off there. I like that. I've got a little bit of hiccups as well. I always get hiccups on videos, in case you're a new subscriber. I like the colour. I think the colour's a good thing. But we really need to start shifting with the rest of the blueprint. We're going to have a driveway that comes across here. And we're going to have like a canopy that goes over the top section. And then this section here is then going to... I'm going to drop it in. I'm going to drop it in by 3 blocks. 4 blocks. I'm going to drop it in by 4 blocks. And then we're going to come out for another section of windows. I think I'm going to do 1 window like that. And then we're going to come back out 2 blocks. And then come along here, work out how many windows we want in here. I've written down 3 very, very tall ones. In fact, they're so tall that these ones take up both stories. So that's going to be interesting when we come to doing the interior. Because obviously I do have interior planned for this episode. Or I want to do an interior for this episode, definitely. 3 windows. And I'm going to do 1 block between each one. So they're going to be very, very close together. Okay. First couple of episodes of this series might seem a little bit slow, but if you plan right at first, it's going to make it a lot easier when it comes to putting the finer details in. It's going to be a lot easier, believe me. Okay, this section on the ground floor is going to be about here. In fact, it's probably on the ground floor going to be even further back. We might change this. We might move this wall back to about here eventually, because on the second story up, we're going to make a nice balcony area along there. And the same on the other side. This currently is going to be mirrored on both sides. So we're going to come back the 4 blocks. And then how did we do this? We had 2 up, like this. Space for the window. And then another 2 like that. We then came out 2 blocks. Alright. And then it was just the 3 windows between. So we have that one. 1, 2 windows, and 3 windows. And then how many blocks did I come back? 2 again, wasn't it? 3 in total, or 4 in total. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And then come back this way again. And we haven't done the windows for this section. And I don't think I'm going to, because this wall is the only one that might be moved later on. Okay, but then we drop it back down this way. I'm going to start with the main section of the house. There's going to be parts that are attached to it. For example, we're going to have a courtyard here. Very, very nice looking courtyard, I think. Let's hashtag splash me. And this is a flat wall because this is going up against the edge of the courtyard. We might have a couple of... in fact, that might be a little bit too long. We might have a couple of doors in there. Maybe a window or 2, but they're only going to be small ones anyway. I still think that's too big. Let's go up into the sky. I think that's about right. I really, really like that. Okay, and then this side is also going to be subject to moved. Subject to being moved. This wall might be moved back, or maybe slightly... No, I think either stay there or move slightly back. because on top we're going to have another balcony below. Now, for the moment, I'm going to drag this out to be dead in line with that block right there. And I'm going to leave it there for the moment. I'm going to match up this side as well. How many blocks long did we do this balconette? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I cannot stress largely enough to you guys, if you are going to build, I know a lot of you, when we started the Let's Build a City series, a lot of you guys built along with me, and it was fantastic to see. I got loads of pictures sent through Twitter of your own nether castles. Some ideas I even ended up using on our nether castle. I want you to do the same on this series. If you guys want to build a mansion for yourself, feel free to. But I highly, highly recommend that you do a little bit of planning first, okay? Usually, I don't plan. I'm one of these people that really don't plan. I build off the top of my head all of the time. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Usually, to be fair, I think we do okay. You know, the nether castle, for example, was completely off the top of the head. There was no planning involved. It was completely sort of freely done, you know, off the top of our head each episode. But with a mansion, it can be a little bit harder because you've got a much more difficult roof to try and work out. The roof to houses are a lot harder than a roof, if you like, to a castle. I wouldn't really call it a roof. But most of the time, they're very, 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 very simple. Not difficult to work out at all. But houses are a lot more difficult. And if you don't plan this stage out well, if you don't put down a nice blueprint of places that might be moved, places that might not be moved, then you're going to struggle later on. You are really, really going to struggle later on. Let me turn my picture over. Okay, this part here, this actually goes wider on this side as well. But this part here, I'm going to have a single tiny little window in. Okay, so I'm going to draw this along here. I'm going to fill that up. But I'm going to leave that one block wide, 2 block high spot open for a really, really small window. That is inspiration taken directly from another mansion that I saw. It was just a wall, a very blank wall with one window in, and I really, really like the look of it. Okay, let me turn back over again. So, next section, I'm going to do that bit. Okay, so we're going to come back here. There seems to be a lot of garages on this build. A lot of garages. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, a lot of garages. We're going to have 2 garages here. I always do my garages 5 blocks wide, because it makes a nice 3 wide car to be able to fit through the middle of it. So we shall have that down. Add another block over there. And down here. That makes that slightly off. No, I'm going to drag it down there instead. And then we've got 2 blocks on either side and 1 block in the middle. And that gives us an extra block there to be able to have a doorway through somewhere into the main mansion. I like that. I like that. And then this is going to come back a little bit further. Maybe to about there. And then on my picture, I drew another 3 garages. So let's have another 3 garages in here. 3, 4, 5, 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3. My piece of paper has just rolled away. I gotta go and get it in a minute. I reached. I got it. I managed to reach. I had it upside down as well. I was like, I've done the wrong bit, but I hadn't. Okay. All right. So these garages are going to come back not in line with the back of the mansion. That would look weird if it was all flat. I'm going to bring it to about there. I think looks like a good number. And the second story up, or I don't know if you call it. Yeah, I'm going to call it the second story up. Isn't going to have the same blueprint as the ground floor. It's going to be similar, but there's going to be a lot of tiny little roofs. I love the tiny little roof bits that we sometimes put in on certain builds. So, for the moment, I'm going to ignore the back. The back will come in time, and we'll concentrate more on the back once we get the actual height of the building in. I think we want to now start on the front again with the second story section. Now, what I'm going to do is maybe we should... I'm going to get some stone just as a temporary block. This will not stay stone. But I'm going to draw this out here and the same out here. This is going to be approximately where the canopy is going to be. Oops, I missed the block. Something like that. That might even have to come out further if we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 minimum for the car. I would like to have 6, 7. That's actually not too far off. I might add another 1 to the edge there. This is going to be where the road's going to be. A nice, or not road, but driveway, if you like. 7 blocks wide, keeping it an odd number so a car can still go in the middle, but with room on the edges for you to be able to walk into your car comfortably. Now, the reason why I wanted to do that first is because we're actually going to start the white section clay part 1 or 2 blocks in. I might even come 2 blocks in here and then draw along the edge. And we're going to put in, hopefully, space for 3 windows. Wonderful! It works out so well. All right, so we're going to extend these 2 up. The middle one is going to be taller than the other 3, so I think I'm going to do it like that. And then for the moment, we'll do something like that. That still makes that a 3 high window, which is a very, very nice size. That looks pretty cool. And then we'll put that one there. And that one there. And then here. Ooh. No, we'll be okay. We'll be okay. We need to have another set of windows in here. Now, we can't match them exactly to the windows below it, unfortunately. I might change that then, because if we put the window here and here like it is below, that makes it so it touches this section of the wall, and it looks a little bit weird. Does it look weird? Or we can do 3 windows instead, like that. I like that idea. It keeps it different to the floor below it. Makes it a little bit more unique. I like that. That is still parallel to that, which is good. And I like the 3 windows. I think that looks good. Now, is this also, again, like below? How many blocks high is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 blocks to the ceiling. So if we then had the floor on that level, it would have to be, which might be a problem. Mind you, I can put slabs underneath it to change the colour. Yeah, I could put slabs under there. So then if we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then the ceiling again would be there exactly the same. So we've got 5 blocks from ground to ceiling, which will end up being 4.5, because obviously we don't want the ceiling of this floor to be the same as the floor to the floor above. That makes it makes sense to me. It makes no sense in real words. So that'll have slabs under there just to make it a different color. So then we can have like the floor blue, but the ceiling a nice wood, or a quartz ceiling and a red floor, something like that. It'll make them different, and they won't like blend through to each other. Now we've got this part. I'm going to move around here, and I think I'm just going to do exactly the same for this part as the floor below. So we're going to come up here, make sure we keep it at least approximately the same height along here. Well, not approximately, we want it exactly the same height. How are we doing for time? Oh man, no way, we're nearly out of time. I might have to jump into another episode. So we've got 2 identically high windows there. And then this section is the windows that go up as high as the second floor itself. Very, very tall windows here. This is going to make a really, really nice interior. I don't think I can describe it that well for the moment, but I will try. If you imagine we had the second floor up here, and then we walked out to about here, and we had like a fenced off balcony, so we can actually look over down into the first floor. Like we can stand over the balcony, like how we had on the Nether Castle. In the main room we had that sort of barrier at the in the main room there that you could look down onto the ground floor. That's what we're going to have here. So you can see out of the windows, you can see down onto the ground floor, and when you're on the ground floor, you've got these massive windows in front of you, very, very modern, very, very nice, and you can also see up onto the second floor as well from down here. That'll look really, really cool. This is where we're going to have a balcony area. So I think what we might do for this balcony area is potentially, let's bring this back here, just before we end off the episode. We haven't got much time left, but think about a balcony design, and I'm thinking quartz stairs and slabs, and then obviously this will be a blank wall. We might put a window in there or something like that towards the end, don't know yet, but we'll have maybe something like this, with maybe that on the edge, and then do it this way. Oops. Put slabs along. Subject to change. Everything is all subject to change here at the moment, but that makes a very, very nice looking balcony area. And obviously the floor will not be this colour, will not be this block, but just for demonstration purposes, we can stand on here. It's a little bit tall to look over, but we can actually solve that problem by boosting us up by half a slab. So maybe this dark oak could look really nice. We could put this down here. It still makes the balcony look nice, the barrier itself, the quartz barrier. But now when we stand on it, we can look over the balcony in a realistic way. You can imagine leaning on this balcony and looking out, you know, having a drink on it or something like that. Even put a little cup on it. Oh, no, we can't, because it's slabs. Ignore that, then. I can't. Okay, but that is going to have to do it for this episode, guys. Yeah, that is going to have to do it for this episode. I don't want to go on for too long. Next episode, we shall continue on with the blueprint. What I might do off camera is just replicate what we've got on this side currently onto that side. Next episode, I will probably be carrying on with the second floor, the second story, because that's going to be our most important story to plan out. Because if we don't plan that out properly, the roof itself that goes on top of the entire building is going to be very, very tricky to work out. We might do a little bit of the next part, the courtyard area, and there's actually another garage on this side as well. It's crazy big, crazy, crazy big, but we've definitely got a very nice start here. If you guys enjoyed the episode, then hit that like button. I really do appreciate it, especially on a series as new as this. It lets me know that you guys are enjoying it. I know on just one episode of 21 odd minutes, it's hard to decide if you really are enjoying it or not. But if you think it's got potential, then be sure to leave a like, okay? And we shall see you in the next episode. I'm going to just carry on recording. I'm going to just record episode 2 right now. Maybe even episode 3. I don't know. Now. See ya. Bye!